Okay, we got 39 minutes and 33 seconds on this one. So this is gonna be the second video of today because today is kind of a interesting weird day. Mm, so I woke up around 7 and after that I yeah, I went on YouTube, I think. I need to cut that out as soon as Mr. Trump, Donald, um, attacks Iran, and I know what's gonna happen with Iran to to move accordingly. For someone who's kind of infatuated by or with mm, global geopolitics and strategic side of things, I really don't like following news because it's just a lot of noise. And yeah, but for until they attack Iran, which is gonna be literally the next 20 days, anyways. Mm, maybe in 15 days, but yeah, I gonna have this YouTube obsession to pass the time. So after that, I was super bored because I don't wake up that early, and I started cooking. And the funny thing is, I started cooking after 3 weeks or even 4 weeks now of ordering food. I don't know because I'm sick or whatever. I'm not actually feeling the taste of what I cook, which is very weird, but yeah. So I started cooking today, and the funny thing is, I ate a lot and still didn't feel as if I've eaten anything. So um, then I wrote, and the funny thing is, whenever I write, I get this uh, very high kind of dopamine that I need to extract out of my body. So I literally either watch porn or just just jack off. But today, because I had a fucking date, uh, literally pun intended, fucking date, I guess. Um, I I tried not to jack off, but I did because the high of writing needs to go somewhere. And after that, I watched YouTube, read a couple of articles, and hmm, yeah, stuff like. But mostly I did gaming, mm, and also I did talk to three friends of mine. One of them is the brain buddy that I call, because talking to people in my wavelength is actually like oxygen to me. So I talked to one of the best sellers I know about things, craft, analysis, sharing my writing, and yeah, basically mm, discussing things on that kind of level. And after that, um, I went out and yeah, had a very mini date because Valentine and whatever. And yeah, there was like a place nearby, and we fucked there. Not in my place, not in her place, but just yeah. But there was something missing, and of course, the something missing was that I need to fuck 60 years old mind in 20 years old body, and good luck finding that. So after that, I had to rush back home to write, and of course, she wouldn't understand. She would say, "You want to write? We can watch movies. We can, um, yeah, we can spend time together." And I said, "We can spend time together if you're gonna just watch me write, because I have to write." That's literally how I actually um kind of metabolize existence. I didn't say that part because that would be weird, but yeah. So now back home, and I wrote 3 sessions of my piece, or no, let me see, four, which is basically 2,000 words, each of them 20 to 30 minutes. And after the compounding high of about like uh, yeah, 2,000 words, about like 1 hour, mm, I'm literally uh, 1 hour, 2 hour, I'm literally still like hard on my mind. I have a boner to what I fucking wrote, which is yeah, which is a sentence not many people can say, even in history. And the funny thing is, I was talking to one of the bestseller friends, bestseller besties that I have, and he said, "Yeah, um, Michelangelo was like this as well." I knew Picasso was like this because motherfucker fucked his way into inspiration. Like whenever my guy had no inspiration, he would fuck a new pussy and make another kind of woman depressed. I think one or two women in his circle actually committed suicide because this guy was literally um, draining them for inspiration and just throwing them out like trash. And this is so funny because I actually did the same thing when I was like 18 something years old, and I would go out with girls and get the emotional energy from them to kind of make my writing better. But I don't know what happened along the lines that now it's vice versa. Instead of me getting energy from the girls and from like dating around, I'm getting energy from the writing itself, and the overflow of energy needs to go into another kind of way. Usually it's like just sex, and it doesn't matter. I have tried like prostitutes as well as relationships, hookups, and all of that. It just the distraction from the overflow of dopamine that you just release yourself to stabilize your dopamine. And this is very interesting thing because when I was 18, this wasn't the case. I would rarely be overflowing with, with actual inspiration and flow state. For me, is literally flood state, and have the overflow of energy. Mm. But these days is exactly like that. I don't know, maybe after having written so many um, pieces and almost like 18 years of writing, this is literally becoming my source of gaining energy rather than investing energy. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Like even without like getting too explicit, no one is watching this anyways, but for my future self to map out the actual fluctuations in my behavior. um yeah, I think today I had like uh yeah, let's say 2 times semen extraction in my dates, and before that I fapped 2 times in the morning while writing, and now back from it because I wrote like 4 or 5 times. I'm yeah, I'm literally spine flat in bed, having jacked off 3 or 4 times more, and I'm still kind of sexually active and kind of loaded because the dopamine of having written so many kind of high quality writings that that literally fascinates my own mind. The dopamine of that is like in another level. I remember like 2 or 3 months ago, I wrote something like a throwaway kind of piece within my kind of bigger picture piece, and in 20 minutes. And I sent it to one of the bestsellers I know, and he literally, um, yeah, immediately submitted it to Paris Review, which on the subconscious level and some kind of conscious level, I'm still curious what their reaction would be, because Paris Review is the best literary publishing house, or yeah, it's basically the first one. So I'm curious if they're gonna say, okay, when a bestseller literally submitted this to their name, they're gonna say, okay, they're gonna be kind of diplomatic about this is not for us, or they're gonna actually accept that because of either the quality or the backing of the bestseller, or both, and publish it. Because as soon as they publish it, uh, even one publishing thing is gonna get me the institutional backing to get an agent, and I already have a couple of finished manuscripts that I can push it with the agent, and yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But I'm starting to understand that mm, I'm gonna get the recognition and the kind of the wealth, money, whatever that comes with it. I'm gonna have it, but I'm afraid it's gonna be um at a time that I wouldn't give a fuck about, because um funny enough, I was listening to one of Eminem's music these days, uh not these days, today, and he literally had one music that said that's one song that said, if I don't go gold with one of my songs, I'm gonna literally um, do this and that. And he has said multiple times that all he wanted was to go gold. And even his friend Proof, he would say, to prove, hey bro, if we get gold, we're, pun intended, golden. And Proof said, what if you go platinum? I think it's gold, platinum, and diamond, right? So yeah, and he would mock Proof and say, "Hey, bro, you're high on something. Me going platinum, no way." And now, like 20, 30 years later, everything he's put out is not only platinum, but also he has 2 or 3 diamonds as well. So that's how kind of unpredictable life is. Even me, when I was 15 years old in Iran. I wanted to get out of Iran and I didn't know how. I knew I would, but I didn't know when and how. Now that I'm in the Netherlands, um, I'm doing things, I'm talking to people, I'm meeting people that it wasn't even in my imagination. And I have a very vivid and wild imagination. I literally map out the whole scenario like a kind of stargazing. It's literally lit up sky in the scenarios of my mind. But still, I have literally this inside joke with my friends that I see 100 possibilities and map out clearly all of them, and the 101st possibility that I didn't even think of emerges. This has happened so many times in my life, and now I'm curious about this certainty about me getting wealth and fame and actual influence and whatever. This is in my timeline because everything is screaming towards that. But of course, the doubt is that, okay, the fame that I want is on a generational level, both in my lifetime and after my lifetime. So the competition is gonna be 8 billion people. And of course, everyone wants that because everyone wants it for their own reason. One wants it for validation, one wants it for resources, the other one wants it for purpose, meaning, whatever. For me, it's just simply my philosophy of living that I want to have the most experiences that's possible to me because that's how I'm built. I process everything so fast that, like, in a constitutional level, it's kind of weird, and it's 3 to 4 standard deviations ahead of most people. For instance, I have this bestseller friend who says, "You're writing like a 60 years old writer at 26, and this is not normal." And he's a bestseller. He knows even his own status as a bestseller, as a philosophy professor, as an actual intellectual who is very smart and intelligent himself. That actually bothers me because that motherfucker is actually annoyingly intelligent. This guy knows he himself is abnormal. So if an abnormal is telling another person you're abnormal, we're literally in anomaly territory. And what this means is that this is kind of weird. But even then he said, but you're whining a lot about, you're bitching about people being stupid and people not valuing your work, people being blind, dumb, whatever, to your excellence or whatever. And but that came to us as a surprise to me, because if I'm fast in processing power that I write 40 years ahead of my time and my age, my emotional level is as fast as well. So if I'm writing better than a 60 years old Dostoevsky, let's say, he loves Dostoevsky and he literally says it's his favorite writer and compares me constantly to him. I don't kind of agree, but I don't disagree either, because of that's a portion of my writing that covers the psychological kind of depth of the writing, but it's not just Dostoevsky. So, and he's not actually my favorite writer either. He's my second favorite writer. And so it comes as a surprise to me that if I'm fast in one dimension, the other dimension I should be fast as well. So I should be whining more because the discrepancy between actual understanding what's going on in the world and how it should be is wider, because it took Dostoevsky or whoever you want 40 years to get there. I'm there at 26, so I should whine more by any logic. You don't get one aspect of a 60 years old and not the other part. So that's one of the things. And the other side of things is that, unfortunately, I'm starting to believe that that's gonna happen when I actually wouldn't give a shit about. And that's kind of annoying, because by all means, whatever I'm presenting and giving to the world and whatever is every single day being proven, but because no one knows me yet, no one actually understands that these discoveries to the world are just common sense, at least in my viewpoint. These things are not only getting discovered late, 5 to 10 years later than the time I said, and I viewed it as obvious, so the society is getting kind of that kind of lag, but also when it is getting discovered, is an 80 years old whatever discovering this as a knowledge. And this is not knowledge, this is common sense. And not only that drives me crazy, because of course my ego is involved in this, and on one hand my ego says, okay, I said this 5 years ago and still no one is gonna know I said it. That pisses me off, because my ego is gonna get hurt. Someone else is getting credit for what I did 5 years ago. And on the other side of things that I think is actually pissing me off more is that I see incompetence and mediocrity celebrated. Because if a 15 years old me thought something was common sense, and 10 years later someone discovers that common sense as science or as discovery, it shows how incompetence has become a kind of a pandemic, kind of a state of humanity. As someone who even doesn't like his own repetitive ideas, whenever I write, even my own characters in my head know that I don't like a repetition or repetitive idea, so my characters are literally on the hunt for a new idea to push my fascination forward and surprise myself. So when I see repetition and mediocrity being heralded and being championed on global scale, not only getting these people resources and whatever, but also it keeps the limit of humanity so capped, because imagine it takes you 10 years to find a common sense and you become famous for it and celebrated for it. Where does that leave human potential? Because it's gonna take you 10 more years to find another kind of pattern matching that is just common sense if you have a little bit of synthetic thinking. So I started this video to record me literally fapping 7-8 times a day while having fucked already in the day, and I still am. My dick still is kind of overclocked because of my dopamine levels through writing. But yeah, it just, I really don't know what's gonna happen in next 5 to 10 years. Same thing as I didn't know when I was 15 what I would be doing at 26. Everything I knew, and this is like common sense, everything I knew I would be doing, or who would I be with, where I would be with, where I would live, everything, every single detail that I knew at 15 is non-existent now. I'm in a different country. I'm doing something for a living that I actually didn't know existed. And I've met people that I didn't know this pedigree of people was accessible to me. Director General this, bestseller that, global policymakers there. These people, I didn't know even half of them existed as actual status holders. And the other that I knew, I didn't know actually I would ever have the accessibility to these people. Everything. Like when I was 15, I was barely proficient in English, and I mocked the idea of learning other languages because English was the global, globally dominant language. Now, flash forward 10 years later, I know 7 languages and ravenous to learn 8, 9, and 10th. So I could only imagine what's gonna happen in 5 to 10 years, because my compounding is insane these days. Like, I wrote 300,000 words in 3 months, and every like 2,000 or 500 words of that piece is already at a level of, without any even edits, submission to literary journals. And I'm literally getting better and better while writing this specific project, which is set out to be 1 million words minimum, because I have I have a session kind of structure for it, which is like a specific kind of labyrinthal structure that I already know the ending, but I'm exploring the ways to get to the ending. And I'm fascinated to surprise myself like that. And 10 years ago, I wasn't doing this. 10 years ago, I was writing poetry in 1 language. Now I'm writing actual cosmology in 7 to 8 languages. And this is only just the past year. 1 year. And the compounding is just continuing on a ridiculous level that I don't know. Am I crazy to think I'm the greatest writer ever in history in, let's say, in 50 millions of writers in the age of AI even? And yeah. But on the other hand, even the greatest writers ever, let's say Dostoevsky, Kafka is not a fucking writer. Fuck Kafka. Let's say Dostoevsky and Borges or Pynchon or whatever. These people were not as globally known in their own time as I aim to be. So that's another hitch that my mind says, okay, if you are the greatest writer ever but dead and unknown, it's gonna take the universe or the society 50 to 100 years to actually see your value when you're actually dead, that's another problem. But as I said, like life is so weird that I've always gotten what I knew I would get. I wanted out of Iran somehow with all of the chaos. I did. I wanted to write and be appreciated for my writing by people who actually understand my writing. I have bestseller buddies literally raining from the ceiling. And now I want wealth and fame, and I'm sure I'm gonna get it. And I don't know how, I don't know when, and of course I'm doubtful about the if, but when I doubt the if, the doubt is so little that it should be bigger, because looking at my current situation, I keep reminding myself of when I was 15 years old. To a 15 years old me telling me you're gonna know 7 to 8 languages and live this life, I would say, no, that's impossible. But now, living it feels just right. It feels like this was this was the only way that I would live. And now thinking about next 5 to 10 years is the same thing. If you tell me you're gonna have this much freedom financially and this much kind of, not validation, but this much influence and impact in fame and in actual global impact and visibility, the feeling says, yes, this is not only possible, this is the only way. But the same feeling that would say, okay, no, at 15 years old to multiple languages and the life that I'm living now, would react the same way. But the funny thing is, maybe my self-awareness has fluctuated throughout the years, but the funny thing is that 15 years old me would be more hesitant towards me now than I am towards me in 5 to 10 years. There is this kind of pathological curiosity about next 5 to 10 years of my life, because I see so many random things happening that are pushing me forward, that just, you cannot justify it by any logic. But at the same time, I know I should doubt my future more than I'm already doubting it. And that retroactively strengthens my, not faith, but my belief in getting what I want when I want in the next 5 to 10 years, with fame, money, and the freedom that I know I'm gonna get. And I'm on my way there getting it. The dominoes are lining up. But at the same time, there is a doubt. But that doubt is so weak that the weakness and the kind of smallness of that doubt is itself interesting to me, because if I'm looking at my current situation and current state of living, that's impossible in 5 to 10 years. And that should be impossible, and also that should be horrifyingly huge aim for me and goal for me, that the doubt should actually crush me, and that doubt should feel threatening to me, that maybe that doesn't happen. But in the reality of things, the doubt is just, hey, there's 1% chance of this not happening in your timeline, or maybe in 20 years. Even the doubt itself is not saying, okay, for 50 years of your life, you're gonna be a nobody and nothing, and you're gonna write for 50 to 100 years later to maybe get discovered or maybe not and forgotten to history. Even that 1% doubt is not this. It's just, okay, maybe instead of 5 to 10 years, it's gonna be 15 to 20 years. That's it. And I don't know, this is naivety, this is copium or whatever, but it's just so fascinating, especially when I'm recording this kind of video. One of my mistakes would be when I was 15, I wasn't recording all of this. And this is very crucial for me that I record everything, because the turns that my life has kind of had during this 10 years is like astronomically different than everything before. Because even statistically speaking, in 10 years, not many people move continents or countries. Not many people have kind of the same path, evolving to a very new level in a new environment, gaining your access and making you gain access over different pedigree of people, and simultaneously have a total mind shift about so many things, not just on kind of belief and drastic level, but on a kind of case by case level as well. Because my stance against with languages was quite interesting to me, that you either like to learn new things or not. And if you're into learning new things, that's not gonna change. And for me, it was like I was always a curious person, but for whatever the reason, I wasn't curious about languages at all. Sure, could be because lack of maturity, lack of actual exposure or whatever, but it was just so fascinating to me that the 180 shift of English is fine and practical and globally kind of respected language to actually literally being ravenous to learn my 10th language. It's just so fascinating because this level of macro to micro shifts don't happen in 10 years or even 5 years, which is so fascinating to me. So yeah, this was today. I'm actually gonna hopefully not write again because my dick is tired of having this dopamine fluctuation again throughout the day. But I might actually either fap or have a sex chat or something, because yeah, one of the girls I know actually sent a couple of interesting pictures, and yeah, let's see what's gonna be. But yeah, hopefully I'm not gonna write today. I don't believe I would ever say this, but yeah, please do not write today. But yeah.